It's your girl Shay, and I'm back with another episode of Shay's Relationship Files this morning. I hope everybody's morning going well. I hope everybody's staying safe out there, having okay weather. Where we are right now, it's raining and thundering, so hopefully some of you guys don't have that right now. But today's episode, we're going to discuss how does modern television shape our perception of love? Because what made me want to talk about this today is because, as we know, entertainment overall, whether it's music, whether it's television, books, it can affect how we think when it comes to many things. And one of the things I thought about, since this is a relationship podcast, is it can affect how you view love, how you can view relationships. So let's get into it. So I do feel like, me personally, when it comes to relationships and television, they kind of a lot of times only tell the good side of things. They don't really have a great perception that there are good times, but there's also bad times, and how you transition through that. They don't necessarily show a good perception of that, and they kind of like camouflage the bad side and just make a lot of times their things is like cookie cutter type, where it's just easy and easy going. Everything is just, and in real life perception, it's not like that. Or sometimes they will put the perception like you meet somebody, you just know you love them all so much in 2, 3 days, and it's like that's not realistic. It definitely takes time to get to know someone before y'all even get married. There's no way you can just meet a person. I mean, you can really, really like somebody, maybe like how they look, but that's not really knowing them enough to start a relationship. The dating is what helps you get to actually know the person, know the ins and outs as much as you can, learn the likes and dislikes of the person. Because I've seen so many movies time and time again where the person just looks at how they look, and then they say they really love them, and it's only been like, what, a week into the relationship, and they already in love and all that. Like, you're in much like with the person. Hi, Multiplier 5000. We're just discussing on my podcast this morning about the television shape of perception of love. Like, do you feel entertainment give you a false idea of what love really is? That's what we're talking about this morning. Hi. How are you doing this morning? Yeah, so like I was saying, I do feel entertainment can give you different ideas. Sometimes I think, depending on the entertainment you watch, sometimes it can really scare you about relationship or having a relationship, because it can kind of be too negative sometimes too. Because you think about some of these movies like Lifetime, where just everything goes wrong. Not saying that you can't run into crazy people, because we are in a world where there's crazy people. We are in a world where people do weird things and that. And it's not that you don't supposed to be aware of those things, but also it's not, if you're careful to start out with, you can avoid a lot of those things if you pay attention. I remember I was talking about in another video I made about how it's important when you first start dating to, if you notice the red flags early, you should really pay attention. Like if it's some things you really know that's not a good sign, that the person either may be too controlling, or maybe you get the vibe that they may be a pedophile, those type of things. You do need to pay attention to stuff like that in the beginning. So a lot of times, because even though I know people can put on a fake facade sometimes to make themselves appear as though they're the greatest person, and they could be hiding something, but that's also why you really ask questions and not just look on the surface of what you see, but actually try to get to know the person inside and their mind and the way they think and their actions, how they act towards you, how they act towards others. Because you can never really know a person completely. You still, even when you end up marrying someone, you're still learning things about each other each day that you may have not known, no matter how long you've been married, how long you still always continuing to learn about the person, and learning never stops, because over time it may be some things y'all may not like that y'all used to like. It may be some things that so you can grow to change dislikes and likes of things sometimes, even when you're already married to the person. So you will never know a person all the way, but you will know them enough when you're dating them, that okay, I know at least I'm safe with them. I know they're not gonna harm if we have kids, or if you have kids already. Those type of important things, because you got to know them. Because also I feel like a lot of this entertainment today push the idea of just quickly skipping the dating part and just go straight into marriage. And I'm like, that notion is very false to me, because I feel like you can't just skip that part. And then it's so crazy to me that some of these stories I've seen, they'll quickly just get married to this person, and then come to find out they crazy, a serial killer, whatever the case may be. And then you think in your mind while you watch, it's like, dude, you married this guy in what, a week? And then you didn't ask no questions like how to meet his family or anything, and the things he was telling you didn't even make sense at the time. Like, you thinking in your mind while you watching this stuff, like, what was this person thinking? But I always hear the saying that many of my family always say, a lot of things are made to show you what not to do. So a lot of these entertainment and movies we may see that's like that, they show us exactly what we shouldn't do and how we shouldn't be so naive to believe every single thing a person telling us that we just now meet and that we don't really know yet. I mean, we want to have some form of, like, okay, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but you still have to be, we all have common sense. And we all have a consciousness that tell us when something don't feel right. And if we're starting to question, then we really need to, pay attention to that. Because when we start feeling something awry, it's definitely our conscience trying to talk to us to get us to see, oh, it may be something you need to pay attention to. And I feel like too that music can also, because that is part of entertainment, that can affect your perception of love. Because even though many of us enjoy the good heartbreak songs from time to time, we all have one or a few they talk about heartbreak or something. And like I said, it does happen. We get our feelings hurt. Oh, thank you, Javeria. Good morning. I hope I'm not messing up your name. Juveria. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Yeah, we're talking about this morning. Does modern television shape our perception of love or entertainment in general? Do you feel like it can give you a false look about relationships and love? And yeah, so that's what we're talking about this morning. And even with music too, I was saying like I had to realize like when even though it's a lot of songs that's like really good and catchy when it comes to the heartbreak and stuff, those things can mess with your mind and you don't realize it. Like it can make you have a negative thinking all the time when it comes to relationships, and you wanna have both positive. You want to be prepared for both, but you don't want to just only be pushing towards the side of negative thinking. So you kind of, I think you should be careful with not just only what you're watching or reading, but also what you're listening to. Because sometimes you can hear so much heartbreak, especially if you're single looking for someone, and then you hear it so much. Oh, he gonna end up doing such anyway, or he gonna end up doing this anyway, or she gonna end up doing this, vice versa. So you want to be careful with how much of that you really consume, even as listening to you. And it's some songs that don't always have to just be on the subject of just heartbreak and he did this or she did this to me. There's music out there that you can listen to that would encourage, you know, I love her, I want to be with her, and I will do everything I can to keep us together, that type of stuff. It's about picking and choosing the things that inculcate what you know to be right when it comes to relationships and love, and when it comes to the things that you want in a relationship. So all because I heard someone say this, saying that your association is not just about who you're around physically in person. Your association is also who you listen to, who you watch, who you read. So what that means is your association not only comes from people that you're around in person, but also the people you listen to and spend your time with entertaining yourself with. So if that person is saying all these negative things all the time when it comes to relationships, or constantly making it seem so cookie cutter where everything's perfect all the time, and that's not true either, and it doesn't show an equal side of things, then you may want to think about like, is this something I really should be enjoying? Because I think a lot of this stuff do affect many of the thinking of, and not just us as adults, our kids, our sons and daughters growing up, they're getting this perception from these movies and music. Yeah, I know that's many people, and I definitely respect that. Avoid relationships because it's just so much. It's it's a lot, you know. Yeah, I definitely can understand that. But yeah, so because you think about these. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. And it's nothing wrong either with just being single. It's nothing wrong with not being in a relationship. There's nothing that says you have to be in a relationship. It's also good too if you want to just be single and just, keep continuing to work on yourself and keep improving yourself. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. That's another thing I feel like sometimes people can push that notion, and entertainment pushes that notion sometimes, where they make it seem like marriage is the only thing in life to do, and you don't have to marry. You can just be single. There's nothing wrong with being single too. That's just a personal choice you choose to make. Yeah, you right, Javaria. Yeah, I actually mentioned that in one of my other lives about how when it's good to actually. I think I was talking about something when it came to when your kids are growing up, how you should encourage them, like the men are going to be there, or vice versa. If they're a boy, a woman's going to always be there. You're going to have time for that. When you first become old enough to date, you should really just focus on getting to know yourself first. Getting, like you said, getting to know your good and bad traits. Because how can you, and I think I kind of talked about, because when you think about nowadays, so many of our young ones are dating already at 12, 11, and 13 years old. And you think about how could you possibly be dating and you don't know nothing about yourself. Both of you guys are in the stages of learning, the bloom of youth. How can you bring anything to the table and neither you understand the concept of a relationship at all? So yeah, it's just that's interesting how you brought that up. Like, and I even talked to my daughter at the time. Like, when you become old enough to date, being single first. Oh no, it's okay. You're doing well. I understand what you're saying. But yeah, being single is a good way to start. Not to rush so fast. And I think, and like I was saying earlier, a lot of these movies and stuff, they push fast track relationships. Like, they don't be realistic all the time about how it takes time. Like, you can go 1 day, 2 days just talking to this person, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm married to him or I'm married to her. Like, what? Like, you at least you need to take time, and you need to take time to be by yourself, to get to know yourself. Because being single, when you do get to know yourself, then if you do decide to have a partner and get married, whatever, you at least you know what you want and what you don't want. You understand what you need, so you can help whoever you with or get with at that moment to know how to love you. It's just like the saying goes, you have to love yourself first before you can love somebody else. If you don't know yourself or love yourself, how can you bring another person in? Yeah. Yeah, and that's not the best thing either. Yeah, just experimenting, like it's just it does that doesn't help, because it's just a temporary thing, and then once that's over, it's like what's next? It's like, and I think if people got to know themselves just a little bit more and gave themselves that time and not rush so fast into relationships, I think a lot of relationships wouldn't tarnish so quickly, so often. Like, it made me think about like a lot of these marriages that we see, even in the, yeah, exactly. And then also when you think of broken too, going back to like the kids, by the time, if a kid is dating at Right. If a kid is dating at 12 and 13 years old, and then you go, by the time they're 18, they didn't have like 5, 6 heartbreaks because the person they're dealing don't know just as much as they don't know. So and I said that's why I said I feel like just being a kid needs to exactly that, be a kid, not to be trying to have relationships, because it's that emotional toll is not something a kid mindset is prepared for at that age, because it's already so much our kids have to deal with now. It's so much when it comes to social media and all those things. So it's like that's the last thing I really think should be our kids' focus. But like I said, everyone chooses what is best for their kids. But me personally, I raised our daughter. We don't allow her to date. She's not allowed to date until she's an adult. Yeah, so yeah, it's crazy, and you know, like I was saying too, if people, right, if people do take that time instead of just experimenting with different people, it would, I think, help a lot. It would help a lot when they finally do, if they do decide to have a relationship. I think it would help a lot. Because, like I said, what I was going to say too is so many people we see, famous people that had these relationships. You see them, oh, okay, they married and stuff. And then all of a sudden, 3 months, 4 months, sometimes not even a year. Oh, no, they decided to divorce because they just got tired of each other. Like, if you would have, yes, yes, exactly. I completely agree with you. They're just too young to understand. Yeah, and it does more harm than good because, like I said, they're already going through so much, and it's so much hardship as it is in this day and age. And that's the last thing you want, is to bring them, for them to be brought down by heartache from a relationship or being with someone. And it's times, because me and my daughter talk so often, where she would tell me like, Mom, sometimes I see these couples together and they make it seem like they so in love and all this stuff like that. But she's smart enough now to know, like, that's just, as you call it, puppy love. Because they don't know what love is. The only perception of love they have is, well, thank you. Yeah, the only perception of love they have is, like I said earlier, from this television, from these YouTubers, and these, not all YouTubers. I'm saying, like, sometimes it can be even sometimes you have some YouTubers that would make it seem like, oh, everything's just perfectly dandy with them in their relationships, or in this and that too also. But yeah, that's what I think a lot of our kids is also focusing on, is they're looking at entertainment as the example of how a relationship should be and how you should be or carry yourself. And that's not the best example to look at. Yeah, so yeah, I think, yeah, so I really enjoyed talking about this with about the entertainment and the perception of love, because I do think entertainment overall can definitely affect a lot with everybody, not just kids, but adults too. And that's why we have to really try to be careful with what we take in as information when it comes, and it's not the easiest thing, because it's so much that's on the television nowadays, and it's so much easier to access. Then you have TikTok and all that stuff. You just want to be just careful and selective. You just have to really be selective, and that does take work and time because sometimes you may be too tired from work or whatever, and you may be like, huh, I'm just gonna turn something on. But it's really just about working on towards thinking on things prior, and that does, entertainment is one of the things. You just need to be aware of what you're taking in, what you're showing your kids, what perception they're receiving, because at the end of the day, especially we have kids who are younger, they're looking at us as parents. We're their first example before they get out into the world. So everything that we put on, or everything that we show them, they're gonna take and show their kids, or if they end up having kids, if they end up having a husband or a wife. So yeah, I enjoyed being on here with you guys. It's always good conversation. And Javaria, I thank you so much for joining everyone that joined me this morning. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. So tomorrow I will be doing a recap video on Out Daughter series and doubling down with the Doricos. I was actually supposed to watch it yesterday and I didn't get a chance to. So I'm gonna watch it tonight and then I'll do a review on it tomorrow. Yes, you too, Javaria. You have a great day as well, and everyone continue to stay safe out there. Just continue to have a good day, and I will see you guys next video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We're building our channel. I appreciate all you guys' support and helping me get my subscriber count up. Please continue to do so. I'm very happy that we've been able to get so many subscribers and likes. So definitely continue to do that. And you guys have a great day. See you guys next video. Peace.